He's said to have killed. I got that detail for every single other one of my cards, but this is the last card that I did. And I was tired. And I didn't get that detail.
You did it at work?
I did it here while you were doing something.
See, I'm always busy doing something.
I'm busy too.
Doing fun stuff. Doing dishes. Keeping Cindle active. Because she's a pain in my boot tie. I love that
She's
girl.
a loud pain.
She's hilarious. Oh my god, you want to hear a joke that she said? Or is it? No.
Okay, tell the joke.
Is a blowout.
Oh my god. Yeah, I said something. Oh, I said something that
It was
our
mean.
friend posted about you should put confetti in tires because at least if you have a blowout, you're still gonna have an okay day.
And
she looks at me and she's like, "What's a blowout?"
she's like, "Is that where everybody gets blowjobs?"
And I didn't laugh when she said it because she's 12 years old and it's inappropriate. And then
So
Tisa
I said it
restated it, and then I laughed, and then Cindle got pissed
and left.
She's like, "I said that joke first. That is my joke, and you only laughed at Tisa." And I'm like, "But you're 12, and it's not funny when you say it."
Oh, I love that kid.
She's crazy. Okay, so that kid. Let's talk about that kid for a minute.
Serial killers?
No, our daughter. My daughter.
What about her?
What happened on Thursday?
Didn't we talk about it?
No?
I thought we did in the last podcast.
Did we?
Yes, we did.
She does not have a broken ankle.
She's fine.
She's fine. She's walking on it. She's
dramatic
fine.
as fuck.
She was dramatic as fuck all weekend.
Tonight in the pool.
Oh my god, yeah, there's a car. You know, we live out in the boonies, so sometimes lots of things can happen. People can get bored and just want to joyride. People can do all sorts of things. I think that it is a kid who's learning how to not drive at night and was practicing in the parking lot because there was a truck that came around the parking lot and did a loop for like 8 times. But they all got scared. So we left.
I don't think it was a kid.
I didn't know what it was, but
she doesn't have a fractured foot. She's fine. She's just a drama queen.
She's a drama
She
queen.
likes getting attention.
She liked being in the wheelchair this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
She's fine.
Next question.
All right.
Next thing.
You heard of Belle Gunness?
Who?
Belle Gunness.
No.
She's from the 1800s. She killed around the time that H.H. Holmes did, from 1884 to 1908. So she's this lady who's from Sweden, and she came and she got married, and then she wanted kids, and she couldn't have kids for the longest time. So she started adopting and stealing kids, basically. And then she married this guy. She killed her first husband. She was like a black widow for a while. So she owned, not kidding, she owned a candy shop. And then they burned it to the ground to get the insurance money. And then she ended up killing that man. I don't know if it was before or after they moved out to her farm. Anyway, she started, serial marrying and whatever. She poisoned her husband. She poisoned her kids. They found she would write letters to people, and then she would lure them to her farm, and then she would kill them. These people from like Sweden and everything who needed a place to stay or who were just lonely or whatever. And so one day she kills all her kids. She goes and she takes all her money out of the bank. She buys a bunch of toys. She goes home, and the next day they find her kids dead. And they find a burned body with like her teeth or something. But she's gone. She's absolutely gone, and they don't know if it's her. They kind of think that she killed someone and framed her or something. They're not quite sure what happened to her. But when they were going through her property, they found 14 bodies, and they think she killed as many as 40. And she was like the first female serial killer in America. That they know of. Yep.
Mm.
Do it again. Okay. Ed Gein. He's a cool one.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Gein's kind of cool, not necessarily because he's a Serial killer, he only killed 2 ladies. But because he's a grave robber. And that's where he got all the bodies that he tore apart and created
masks.
And he like created a vest and like a belt, and then he would like make lampshades, and he would use the skulls for bowls.
Yeah.
And he made the face. Yeah. They're saying that
I remember watching the documentary.
Yeah.
And they showed it. It was crazy.
Yeah, and they say that he was, once he got into the psych ward, after he was caught and everything, they say he was super happy the rest of his life. He lived until like 94.
Damn.
Yeah, but he was super happy. He was just happy to be there. But he liked to dress in oh, do you know who the first person that they say he killed, but they're not sure? It was marked an accident. His brother died in a brush fire.
Interesting.
And he was out there with his brother, so they're not sure what happened there. He killed only 2 women. A bar owner and a hardware store owner, I think.
Interesting. That's weird.
Yeah. And they were both, masculine-looking ladies, like his mom.
Okay, touch on that.
I don't know. This is just what I heard in one of the podcasts that I listened to. All right. Dahmer.
Oh, God.
How many do you think he killed?
I have no idea.
What do you know about him?
He used to eat people.
Eat people? He killed 17 men and boys.
Didn't we explain to Sindel about him?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, just recently.
No. I was missing John Wayne Gacy in my list. I forgot Albert Fish. I only have 4 more.
But guess what?
Huh.
We could have a volume 2.
That's right. The Menendez brothers. Let's talk about them.
They're gonna Menendez brothers us. I said that the other night.
You did. You made a joke about them the other night. It was funny.
Because we were fighting with the kids, and I was like, they're gonna Menendez brothers us.
Oh, yes, you did. So.
Because I think it was because we were taking their phones away and they're pissed off.
We forgot to take their phones away tonight.
Mm-hmm. That's why Sindel kissed us on the cheek and ran upstairs.
Probably. That girl. Okay, so what's the Menendez brothers' names?
I have no idea, but they killed.
Why did they kill their parents?
Because they were pissed off about something pretty small, but I thought, wasn't it?
Their parents were rich, and they wanted the inheritance. And, like, one of them wanted to go do, like, private tennis lessons or some shit. Something like that.
I remember it being something really petty, and they fucking were, like, sick of it. And they're spoiled brats, so they killed them.
Yeah. Something like that. And during the trial, they both went on trial separately, and both of those juries were deadlocked.
Mm-hmm. And
then they went on trial together, and then they were found guilty. Their names are Lyle and Eric.
Hmm.
All right. Bundy. How many people do you think he killed?
30.
That's what he confessed to. Where did he go? What states?
I don't remember.
He had, oh my gosh, Colorado, Utah, Florida. I think Washington too. I'm not positive about that though.
You know what? They had all that stuff, the documentary on Netflix and stuff, and we haven't even watched anything.
And I read Ann Rule's book because it was for book club. So I read it. And he actually started, do you know how he would lure, when he was first starting, how he would lure women?
Mm-mm.
So he had this yellow bug, and he would put on a fake cast or a sling.
Mm-hmm.
Would put his arm in a sling, and then he would have a briefcase, and then he would pretend to be hurt, and he would ask them to help him get to his car. These girls. And so they would help him, and then he would, not be hurt. So he did that. He went to this one lake, and he lured one girl in the morning. And then he came back to the same lake that afternoon and got another girl. the same day.
Was any of it sexual or was it just killing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was all sexual.
Bundy.
And he...
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm trying to remember.
He practiced necrophilia until he couldn't anymore. He would cut off their heads and keep their heads. This is what I read on Wikipedia. Because I didn't...
Wikipedia?
She didn't... Anne Rule didn't say that in her book. But what I find fascinating about Ted Bundy is... Okay, so he had this huge serial killing of all these girls, okay? And then he got caught in Colorado, and then he actually broke out of prison. I think he broke out twice. And then he ended up going to Florida. And while he was in Florida, he tried to play it straight until he couldn't anymore. And then he bludgeoned sorority girls in their dorm. And then he was caught again.
We should watch the Pendundi tapes.
The one with Zac Efron or the one not?
Yeah.
Would you really want to watch the Zac Efron tape and maybe change the way you think about Zac Efron?
I don't think it'll change my way.
You kind of have a thing for him.
I don't think it'll change my way for him. What if I'm like, damn, yeah. Even more.
Even after he plays a creepy serial killer?
Mm-hmm. All the white girls on Facebook were all about it.
But you're not.
No, I'm not white. Don't call me white. It's a song, sorry. Teach you someday about it. Some punk rock music for you, baby.
Alright. So my favorite out of the ones that I wrote down, and your favorite out of the ones you wrote down. So purple or green?
Green because it looks blue from here.
It's green. So, have you heard of the Vampire of Sacramento?
No.
I think he's the one that scares me the most because he was legitimately psychotic. He only killed like four or five people. But he would gain access through the patio doors. And there was one lady where he went to her patio door and he just stood. It was locked, though. And he just stood and stared at her while she was in her kitchen. But he couldn't get in because it was locked. And then he eventually just walked away.
That's like a fucking horror film for me.
Yeah.
It's like one of my fucking worst thoughts of things could happening. Like somebody just staring at you. Mm-hmm. That's why I always close like the blinds and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm thankful we have dogs.
He's creepy as fuck.
Except for the fact that the fucking dogs bark at everything.
They say that he had the...
He just yawned, so I did. Damn it.
He had the trilogy, the serial killer, 3. Mm-hmm. Like a bump on the head. There was a couple other things that they wet the bed until they're older. And there's one other thing.
Do you think Sarah Silverman's gonna become a fucking serial killer because she wet the bed until she was older?
Well, my dad did too.
Do you think your dad's gonna be a serial killer? Or maybe...
no.
Your bio or your step?
My bio.
You're just telling that on podcast.
I know. I have his baby book.
And it said that in there?
Mm-hmm.
Until how old? And do you think he's going to be a serial killer or is?
No. I don't think so. But it's a trucker.
I hope he's not listening.
I don't know.
Because we do have listeners.
He is the most
Colorado.
generous. He's the most kind. He's the nicest man. I don't think...
Why would your grandma put that in his fucking book?
In his baby book?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's weird shit.
I don't know. There's...
Is that white people shit?
Do you have a baby book?
Nope. There's 8 of us. Do any of us have a fucking baby book?
Well, maybe Jerry.
No.
No?
I'll ask my mom.
You'll ask your mom.
Tomorrow when I go over.
No.
I doubt she has a baby book.
My dad's too nice.
They always say he's so nice. And then he murders. Shiggity shank. 55. No.
He does watch ID a lot. No, I love my dad. He's a great guy. Let's see. The reason that they called Richard Chase the Vampire of Sacramento is because he would drink his victim's blood. And he was horrific. With one of the chicks that he got and killed, she was like 3 months pregnant, dismembered her, did all sorts of shit. It was awful. And then he killed a whole family.